safe bet for politicians. The US Congress is discussing a bill to crack down on bonuses at insurance giant AIG. Here in France, the government has told business leaders to ditch those bonuses or be legally forced to do so. President Sarkozy threatens to legislate if companies that have received state aid don't agree fresh guidelines to cap bonuses and stock options. The Employers Federation, MEDEF, isn't taking it sitting down. It says there's no need for new curbs as a framework was agreed last October. And even Sarkozy's own finance minister appears concerned that a hasty law could send the wrong signal to an ailing business community. For this debate, I'm joined by financial analyst Max Keiser, founder of KarmaBank.com, and by Pascal Salin, professor of economics at Paris Dauphine University. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Max, is this a purely symbolic gesture, or does it have an economic rationale, this government gesture in France?
These guys are financial terrorists. They should be decapitated. Throughout history, when bankers have seized control of the system and impoverished the community, there's been some penalties to pay. And this is one of those inflection points in history where a group of individuals have taken upon themselves to bankrupt the state, and they deserve to be punished with the harshest possible terms, and I do not rule out decapitation.
Decapitating people who receive bonuses, Pascal, does that seem fair?
You know, I think that they are not responsible for the financial crisis. The responsible people are the monetary authorities who created too many liquidities, and then people took the opportunity. That's quite normal. And well, I mean, in fact, why the bonuses and stock options and all that exist? They exist because they give the right incentives to financial people. So it has been said that. Anyhow, the bonuses, maybe not the stock option, but the bonuses had some responsibility in the crisis because people were induced to look short term. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. It is certainly not true with stock options because stock options has been created just for the reverse reason, for people to look at the long term and to have good results in the long term. And it's the same with the
stock options. Let's be honest about what the stock options in this case are. Let's talk about what it is in this case. It's counterfeiting. In much of the cases of backdating stock options and issuing stock options and awarding of Reg D insider stock, this is counterfeiting to go along with fraud and embezzlement. You cannot position this as merely poor business practices or a one-off calamity in the financial market. This is a pre-planned financial holocaust by financial terrorists, and I think if bin Laden were running the central banks in America, he would be doing a much better job and less damage. Let's talk about the damage done to the American economy and the world economy by these financial terrorists.
Once more, the damages are made by the monetary authorities and not by the financial people.
The monetary authorities are Goldman Sachs, runs the central bank in America, as well as the biggest bank on Wall Street, is one corrupt organization that works hand in glove with each other. Goldman Sachs.
It's not economic analysis, it's just words. You are saying that they are corrupt and so on. That's not the problem. You do know that the monetary policy is decided anyhow.
By Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan working with the federal government to debase the value of the U.S. currency, to destabilize the global economy, and to carve out hundreds of billions of dollars of bonuses. This is absolutely a remarkable instance of fraud and corruption and embezzlement.
I cannot agree with that. You have no proof that, for instance, Alan Greenspan has been corrupted by Lehman Brothers or Goldman Sachs.
The proof is in Alan Greenspan's very own words when he testified before Congress and said he made a mistake. His theory of running the central bank was a fraudulent theory.
Why he said that?
It's in the record. He went in before the congressional testimony and he said point blank, I made a mistake. I'm in the pocket of the bankers. I'm a corrupt public official, and I am aiding and abetting the destruction of this system. Alan Greenspan is one of the worst of the worst.
No. I'm sorry. I do know this testimony of Alan Greenspan at the Congress, and he said that he was wrong in believing that the market could be self-adjusting. And why he said that? Because he did know that he was responsible for a bad monetary policy, and he thought that it was easier for him to put the responsibility on the market instead of him.
And
that's why. So I can. There's something funny with Alan Greenspan. He wrote a long time ago in a book, a very good book by Ayn Rand, Capitalism, the Unknown Ideal. He wrote all the bad events in the U.S. in monetary problems came from the creation of the Federal Reserve System. And so I have the feeling that he wanted to give the proof that the Federal Reserve System was
Do you agree with that? It's the Federal Reserve System, it's not Goldman Sachs.
Certainly. It is the Federal Reserve System which is responsible for the crisis.
They're all in each other. It's a revolving door between Washington and Goldman Sachs. You've got Geithner, who is Goldman Sachs, Hank Paulson, who was Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is a government bond dealer. They've been shown to be absolutely compromised in all of their dealings. They made bets against their own customers, shorting bonds that they themselves sold. You got to go back to Michael Milken and Drexel Burnham. The only way they could take that sucker down was RICO. You got to take all these bankers into a room and prosecute under RICO, anti-racketeering laws, because that's what we're talking about, a racket between bankers in Washington, bankers on Wall Street, bankers around the world, including some French bankers, I might add.
But Max, let's put this in perspective. I mean, you're talking about, what, 6 banks plus Peugeot Renault that have benefited from state aid. Is that really such a big deal? You've got so many other companies benefiting from bonuses in France. Why the outcry about these 6?
But because they're systematically undermining the entire system, and they are basically created a mechanism to carve out equity and capital for themselves at the expense of society at large. So in the United States, unemployment is skyrocketing. The uninsured is skyrocketing. The social fabric is coming unglued. You have riots all over the world, in Iceland, in other countries, due to this, what I call financial terrorism that was premeditated on purpose and should be addressed as such. There's a double standard. Why is the U.S. pursuing so-called terrorists in nations like Afghanistan when they let these guys roam free on Wall Street?
Okay.
They're the worst criminals of all. They do more damage.
Let's leave Afghanistan out of this.